Bezrat Hashem. We are continuing. I think we're Pasuk Yud Zayin. Nachon? Okay. So, yes. Mesilat Yesharim, the paved way of the righteous, Sur Mera, is by going away from the bad. Shomer Nafsho, and the one that wants to protect his life, Notzer Darko, gates his way. The Gaon says the following. What is this definition of Mesila? We're going to say it Be'ezrat Hashem on Rosh Hashanah. We're going to say Solu Solu Mesiloteha. Right? What is Solu Solu? What is a Mesila? Mesila is a paved path that stone has been pushed, all the rock have been pushed away from its road, right? So it's going from a way that is filled with rocks, and now it's cleaned, straightened, and paved. That's a mesila. Like it says, Solu, Solu panu derech. And so that's mesila. Now, what is Yesharim? Who are we referring to as a Yesharim? Yesharim as the Baal Sechel, people that use their intellect. And the pshat of the pasuk is that the Yesharim, the people that have intellect, they don't want to live a life that is constantly exposed with challenges on the way. They want to make sure that they push aside all the challenges, all the hiccups, like we call them, from their path, so that they can have a smooth journey. And they do that through their sechel. So what do? They sumera. They find something that is going to a situation, a behavior, a relationship, a midah, yes, that interferes with their journey, with their growth. They're just going to make sure that it doesn't interfere anymore, right? So if there's a toxic relationship, it's gone. If they have a problem, yeah, they're going to try to solve it right away so that it doesn't become more complicated. Yes, there's a midah they have a hard time, growing with. They try to fix it. So through the sechel, they understand, they assess the mokesh, they assess the challenge and the difficulty, and they find a way to get rid of it. That's the surmira. Yeah, the misilat yesharim. So the paved path of the righteous, yes, is cleaned up because of the behavior of what is called surmera. Get away from get away, from all the ambushes. However, the yasha can. Yet it's true that you get rid of the problems, but that doesn't mean that you're on the right track. You think you're on the right track. Nachon? So you get rid of the not the ambushes, no, this of the roadblocks along the way,
Hiccups.
of those hiccups. Yes. So now your path is clear, but maybe maybe the person is making a mistake in the path that he's taking minachatchila. So what a person should do if he wants to make sure that even in the path that he's taking, he is protected. That's the second part of the pasuk. Shomer nafsho notzer darko. If you want to save yourself, if you want to protect yourself from mistakes, chas v'shalom, and from doing something wrong, build around you fences, gates. What does that mean? Do not let outside influence sway your way so that you now need to pave it and think that it's the right direction for you, when in reality, yes, you're in the wrong direction. But if you learn to gate your way, to gate your life, to gate yourself, yes, there's no outside influence, there's no peer pressure. Now you can have clarity, yes, to build from within derech of avodat Hashem. Good. So two ways. One is to solve issues in advance so that you can have a smooth journey with the risk of being on the wrong path, or build around yourself layers of protection so that you're not influenced from outside. And now you can really have the clarity to build uh, yourself in the right way. לפני פסוק י"ח. לפני שבר גאון. Before destruction, before a ruin, גאון. It's לשון גאווה. ולפני כישלון גובה רוח. And before a failure comes arrogance. So before destruction comes pride, and before failure comes arrogance. Says the Gaon, Gaon here is somebody that takes pride, yes, on the tzibur. It's not an individual interaction. It's somebody that builds his pride and his ego to have control over the tzibur. Yes. However, gova ruach, yes, arrogance, it's in the heart. It's an emotion. It's the gova ruach is it's a potential, if you will. It's a feeling, where geon is the application of that feeling that you impose on your surrounding. So says Shlomo HaMelech, when you enforce your ego and you impose your way because of your ego, at the end, something that you don't control will come and end up breaking you. Meaning the failure will come from outside. Why will it come from outside? You impose yourself on outside on others. Yes. By nature, it's gonna rub someone the wrong way, and that person will be the reason why you failed in what you tried to do. That's when you impose ego on the public and on your surrounding. Kishalon, failure, failure comes from within. Yes. So says the Gaon, says Shlomo Melech, when a person, yes, lives with arrogance, and inside he's always, yes, his emotions are always uh, led with selfishness and, like I said, arrogance. So he will make mistakes that will lead to failure. So the outcome comes from within. Understand the difference? Ego that you impose on others triggers that someone outside will end up harming and breaking what you try to build. Because it's built on arrogance. It's built on ego. Mechila. It's built on ego. And when your behavior, yes, is fueled with arrogance, it's fueled with ga'ava internally, then whatever you're going to do will have some mistakes that will lead to the failure of the behavior of your actions. So mimayin afshar, or the ga'ava that is expressed, or the ga'ava that is felt, both lead to destruction, to no outcome that can stand for long. Why is that? How come if a person has arrogance, or if he uses his ego to impose his way on the kahal, yes, it doesn't have any outcome that can last. It results to ruins or to failure. Why can't it last? For what reason? It seems like the Gaon, like that Shlomo Melech is coming to tell us that from within the energy that you infuse in your behavior and in your actions, already there is destruction, already there is ruins. So it's not like, so it's something that can last, but maybe someone, no, from within already it's prepped and set to be destroyed and ruined. Why is that? We say Hashem geut lavesh. כן? לבש להשם עוז יתעזר, נכון? Yes or no? We say it every ליל שבת. אדוני מלאך גאות לבש. So the ga'ava is only something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can have. He's the one that is mitlabesh, that dresses up with ga'ava. And what is the ga'ava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The glory of Am Yisrael and the light that Am Yisrael bring to the world through their behavior, the achdut, the Torah, and mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim. But since the Churban Bet HaMikdash, since the Bet HaMikdash has been destroyed, Am Yisrael hasn't been, yes, shining light, and it hasn't been the Ga'ava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're not. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have the Ga'ava, you're going to have it. You're trying to now dress up with a trait, with a midah, that only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can wear when everything goes perfectly, and you want to use it now. The Maaseh, it's like you tell a king, yes, that has this, that wears the crown, and he cannot wear it because the country is at war. So he cannot, it's not time to wear the crown. Now it's time to fight. It's time to, right, restore peace. And you come along and you start wearing and walking around in the street with the crown of the king. Doesn't work. Yes. So If the reason why Hakadosh Baruch Hu does is not Geut Lavesh because of the Churban, yes, whoever dresses with that Ga'ava, by default he will lead to his own Churban. Yes, you understand? Because the Ga'ava right now is in a matzav of Churban. There's a Churban, so there cannot be Ga'ava. So you want to dress the Ga'ava, by default you connect to the Churban itself. So no matter what the person will do from a place of Ga'ava, whether it's an emotion and a behavior, or it's through practice and actions, by default, no matter what, it's a question of time before the Churban happens. And Lema'aseh, with a little bit of Simat Lev, yes, when you look at things around you, you'll see that every time there's Ga'ava, yeah, there's ego between partners, or there's ego when someone is a little bit successful, whatever. It's at the end it never finishes well. And the opposite, the baracha lies by the ones that know how to be anav and to be down to earth. And nobody says to be erased, but at least not with gava. So here the yesod, which is extremely important, the yesod of the destruction in a behavior comes from the ego and the arrogance. This is what sets failure from the beginning in someone's actions. I have a friend of mine in Los Angeles. He told me once, he's in real estate. So he said, all my life, I was always successful in business, in real estate. Always, thank God. Once I made a mistake and I lost a third of everything that I made before. How? He said that he wanted the building, yes, and he was trying to get it, and his competitor outbid him. He said, he's going to get it. I'm going to show him. And he doubled down, and he went in a bidding war. He said, no matter what it costs, I will get it and not you. Who are you to take away this from me? And he bought it, or he overpaid for it. And that building, yes, he ended up losing a third of what he had made in the past. He told me, I've learned a lesson. It's not never make a deal because the other one has it. No, mapitom. That's ga'ava. That's ga'ava. That's the pshat here. That's the pshat. When you do something out of ego or arrogance, it doesn't matter what you see right now. It will fail for sure. Pasuk Yutet. Tov shefal ruach et aniyim. You're better off being humble and with the poor. Mehalek shalal et geim. Than to share the spoil of a gain with the giving with gavtanim, with people that have gava. So, but there's a klal that the Gaon brings. We're not going to go into it too much in the Kri Uchtiv, but usually every time there's a word in the Torah that you read different. Yes. For example, here it is written aniyim, but it is read anavim. You see it? There's a few places like this in the Torah where the Kri and the Ktiv don't, you read something else than it's written. So usually, when you have that, the Ktiv, what is written, is the secret of the Pasuk, and what you actually read is the Nigle, is the Pirush, the Pshat of the Pasuk. So yes, in the way it's written, there's a hidden message, And the way you read it, it's what the pasuk really means logically in its context. However, you have very few cases where it's the other way around. That pasuk is the other way around. That pasuk, yes, what you read is the sod, and what is written is the pshat, right? So when it's written, yes, when it's written anavim, that's the pshat. But in reality, the sod is in the word aniyim. So he says like this: you're better off being humble, shafel ruach, and live amongst the aniyim and be amongst the poor, than enjoy with the arrogant. Why? Says the Gaon like this: what is the purpose of wealth? Most people, why do they build wealth? So that they know that they can satisfy their desires. That whatever they need, they can have. That's the purpose of wealth. Now, the issue is that if the person has ego, that wealth will never satisfy him. Why? Because he always needs more. And at the end, like Chachamim tell us, and he will die with only half of his desires fulfilled and satisfied. Why? Because he's always being fueled with more and more and more and more desire. So says Shlomo HaMelech, for such a person, if you're a successful person, yes, and you have built wealth, you're better off surrounding yourself with humble people and aniyim, and learn how to satisfy yourself with what you have, because you see what's around you and you see how people live, right? So you understand right away that you're ahead of the game compared to everybody else, and that brings you humility and satisfaction. So now you become rich be'emet, then having wealth but being around people that have ego, and you're always behind the apple. Like, oh, I got this, got that, that, got that, a million, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. It never stops, right? And says, this is the real Ashirut, says the Gaon. It's the Ashirut, it comes from the Anava. But be careful. You have to be Anav so that you can allow yourself and make yourself live amongst the simple in order for you to be Ashir. You understand? You can build wealth and live like a poor, or build wealth and live like a rich. It will all depend on who you surround yourself with. It's a tremendous lesson. Ken?
Rabbi, is that because you desire less, or because and you appreciate more?
Yes. Yes. when when you it's a reality check, lemase. That's what it is, right? When you go and you see how people live, and you see how what people don't have, yes, and then you see what you have, you're like, oh wow, I really have a lot. Baruch Hashem, I'm blessed. But when you don't see that, and all you see is people having more and more and more, and desiring more and more and more and more, then you're rich that's really poor. Because no matter how much wealth you make, it's never good enough. Because there's always going to be your neighbor that makes more, or that spends more, or that does more. Such a yesodi, it's such a fundamental lesson. Because the the reality is that people tend to surround themselves with their social class. Yes, you're rich, you're among rich people. You're poor, you're amongst poor people. But very few people, yes, actually mingle with different class level. Last week, uh, I had dinner with Isacheretov, with Jacob Safra, and we were talking. So he told me that he took his son to India. He has a business area in India. He went to see the business, and he took his son to India. Very good. And the son hired an employee in India, okay, to do his video. He posts video on geography. To set up, to make the videos. Okay. Never met him. First time in India he made. So they go to a restaurant, like in this very famous uh, hotel. I don't know what. So when they sit, yes, they sit with the boy. The person attending, the table, say, "I'm sorry, I cannot put a plate for this guy because he's in the under class. I cannot serve somebody that is in the lower class than me." He didn't want to serve him. He didn't want to put a plate and cut over on the guy, for the guy. So Jacob was like, "I'm sorry, he's my guest." It's like, "I'm sorry, yeah, but I cannot serve somebody that is in a different class. I can only serve someone that is in my class." Until at the end, he made a fuss and he got what he wanted. But it's out there. It's out there. It's shocking, but it's out there. Subconsciously, a lot of people don't realize that they do the same thing. Yes, and they're not gonna expose themselves with somebody that's not in their social class. When in reality, it's that relationship that allows you to benefit from your own wealth and feel rich with your wealth. כן? משכיל, פסוק כ'. משכיל על דבר, when you master something intellectually, אם טוב, you will see good, you will find good outcome. ובוטח בשם, but if you trust in Hashem, אשריו, you're lucky. Says the Gaon like this. This is referring to Limud Torah. He says, when you yagea, when you put your effort in Torah and you learn Torah, you will find the Tov. You will find the Tov of the Torah. But that's only in the Torah. This is not always in Olam Hazeh. Right? In Olam Hazeh, Chaim Tovim. In Olam Hazeh, when it comes to efforts, okay, Chaim Tovim. In anything that has to do with the mundane parts of of life, Maskil al davar in Satov does not apply. So what should he do? Boteach b'Hashem ashrav. If you have bitachon in Hashem, yes, then ashrecha ba'olam hazeh ve'ashrecha ba'olam haba. So that's the difference between the two. If you're intellectual and you master the sugiot, you'll see the tov, you'll see the bracha in your limud. But it's not because you master a business that means you're going to be successful. Yeah. It's not because you master knowledge in finance that you're going to be successful in finance or in real estate. Yes, but if you have bitachon in Hashem, yes, you trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and obviously you do your part. Yes, no, you'll see beracha in both, in Olam Hazeh, in the mundane part of the world, and in Olam Haba, and in the Torah. Another pshat, he says, you have to be maskil, you have to put intellectual efforts in your Torah, but you have to have bitachon when it comes to tefillah. Yes? So when you pray, you have to approach the tefillah with bitachon. When you do efforts in business, you have to invest in you have to approach with bitachon. When you learn Torah, it's not bitachon. When you learn Torah, you have to use your sechel and your logic and your razor blade, quality, so that you get to the bottom of things. The inyan of tefillah and bitachon. Why do you need bitachon in tefillah? Because tefillah is not about asking; it's about bonding. When you pray, you bond to God. Yes, and only by bonding can you benefit from what you need. But if you only ask without bonding, that's not that's not that's not proper, right? So if you ask, that's not bitachon. When is it bitachon? When you bond and you know that Hakadosh Baruch Hu knows who you are, knows what you need, yes, and he will satisfy your needs. That's bitachon. Knowing that Hakadosh Baruch Hu will satisfy your need, knowing what you need and what's best for you. But that only comes if you address tefillah through the concept of bonding and not through the concept of asking. If you ask, he can say yes, he can say no.
So once you've bonded, if you approach tefillah with a bond, and then what? Then you ask.
But the bakasha is not when you bond and you ask, it's not asking. Yes, when you bond with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, then you know that Hakadosh Baruch Hu feels you, he knows you, and he knows what's best for you. So when you ask, when you formulate the bakasha, this is not the ikar. The ikar is the bond that you have with Hakadosh Baruch Hu. When you're close to the king, you don't need to ask the king. You know what I'm saying? Because the king knows exactly what you need, and if you formulate it, this is not what defines your relationship. But when the relationship is all about asking, yes, so there's no question of bitachon here. It's quite, if the king says yes, it's yes. He said no, it's a no. It's not that. There's no room for bitachon. It's a gzera. Yes, the gzerat hamelech. The melech will say yes, or he will say no. There's no place for you to be boteach. Boteach what? Where are you going to be boteach in? I'm boteach that he's going to tell me what I want. No. What? What? What can you be boteach in? That he knows best.
Yeah.
And what did you ask? At the end, you shouldn't be asking, and anyways, you didn't bond. So if that, you understand? So what's the bitachon here? There's no bitachon. It's foolishness. But if you bond, and that's what tefillah is about, it's a connection with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore I'm fused with him. He knows me and he feels me. Then the formulation is not only an extension of the bond, nothing else. Okay, that's a deep concept in koach tefillah. Tov. Okay. Bezrat Hashem. So we will hold here. We did pasuk chaf. Any questions on that pasuk?
The ego, it's about ego with materialism, ego with spirituality, as we learned before. You need to have it. If not, you need a good part of the ego.
Yes, ברור, ברור, ברור. So you're going back to the Mesilat Yesharim, to Lifnei Shever. Yes. No, but there is a minimum level of ego that we should all have in order to be responsible and recognize that we're worth something. But that's not what we're talking about. Now we're talking about an ego to impose yourself on others, or arrogance. When what does it mean arrogance? When everything revolves only around you. That's not what we're talking about. Ego, the healthy ego, that's not what we're talking about. It's just to use self-motivation so that we can be productive and responsible and grow. That's very different.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much.
חודש טוב, חודש
חודש
טוב,
טוב.
חודש הרחמים.